It's a lot. And so am I. I'm James Lott Jr. It's my Patreon only series here on my Patreon. I've said 10 times. Patreon, James Lott Jr. And welcome. Welcome to the new members. Welcome to the old members. At this point, it's some old members, I guess, at this point. This is my series. I talk about things that happen to me in my life. I have a huge catalog of life that I can talk about. And as you saw in the title, this one is the truth. But you watch all the episodes here. They're here only for you who subscribe and for the $10 and $20 subscribers. So you guys get it. I have a $5 one too. So that's just something, other stuff you get on there too. A super random question. That's a random question. Just Lonzo. Okay, I'll look at that in a second. Okay. So this little short story is about me walking into my house while I was being robbed. We were robbed once before, and I wasn't living here. My brother and my mother were living here. My mother, yeah, they were here. And they got and this back door, you see, let's go this way. That's a back door and a little bar there. It's a door on the outside of that. And then even though we didn't have an alarm system, they broke in. They ransacked the room. I wasn't living here yet. They put in an alarm system years ago. And I guess I could. I have a lot of family members. So that's so I'm looking down. Somebody's texting me a question about my family. I was like, oh, we're going to that later. Anyway, so they got an alarm system. I moved in here 13 years ago, and about 4 years ago, that was 3 years ago. It was after my Bell's palsy. So in 2019, I was coming home around 5 p.m. It was just getting dark at that point. It was like during the winter months. So it was getting dark a little earlier. So I was like 5 p.m. I'm getting home. My brother's at work. He's not home already. And my doors are closed in front. They look normal. I walk up and I open the door, and the alarm's making a weird noise. Usually it beeps. I push in the code. It turns off. It's making a fluttering noise. I'm like, what's going on? Now my house is one of those they call shotgun houses, long house. So I'm like, okay, I'm just like, just kind of like, okay, this is kind of weird. So I'm trying to figure that out. And I'm like, something's weird. I'm like, and I think I start talking out loud, which happens when you're like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. So I heard stuff from the back of the house. And I was like, oh my goodness. Now, why didn't I call the cops then? I don't know. I was thinking maybe it's just, I don't know what I thought was maybe my brother back. I don't know what I was thinking. But I remember starting to walk, so I got the alarm off. And as I'm walking down, I have a dining room, kitchen, service porch, hallway, my bedroom. So I'm walking back there, and this door, I'm seeing a person run out this door. So they couldn't. So I'm walking back here, and I'm like, oh my goodness! And I stopped for a second, and and I'm seeing that the door, because they were trying to get out so fast, they heard me in the house. They kind of took the bar off there, and they were trying, and it's hard to get out sometimes, and so they squeeze us out. So as I am walking, and I start to run back here, and I see the door open, and I turn around the corner here in my bathroom. The shower curtain, the windows busted out, the shower curtains busted out. There's like dirt everywhere in the dining, in the bathroom, dirt on the floor. Now I'm sitting here. All this shit is sitting here. All my stuff that I do, my stuff is here, and they must have just broke in. So I open the door outside, and I see one guy jump over the fence, and he's gone. He looked young. We had a rash of robberies in the neighborhood. So I was like, oh my God, we got hit. So I was like, okay. So then what's really funny is I was like, this is kind of great. I felt so violated. I felt completely violated. And I was thinking, okay, my stuff looks like it's still here. So they must have just got there. So I thought, so I called 911 immediately, Inglewood Police. I'm like, you need to come in. I've been robbed, blah, blah. So they say don't touch anything. So I had to keep the door open, not touch it. I had to keep everything. The windows busted out. I had to keep all that. They didn't come for 3 hours. That's another story for another time. But I was lucky they didn't have a gun. I was lucky they didn't stand ground and attack me or do anything. I was very fortunate in so many ways. They didn't come get me. I didn't get hurt. There's usually things like that and another thing. But I was curious. So my brother came home later and he was like, we were robbed. Oh my goodness. So we go outside. I squeeze through the door, I go outside because every window on my house has either bars or they call security screens. So I'm like, well, then how do they get in? You can't get through the bars. That bathroom is one of those tall, high up windows that's rectangular with a sliding thing. It's really thin and it's so high up. Like I'm thinking, no one can even reach it. I mean, I never even thought, I didn't realize it was the only window in my house that didn't have security screens or a bar on it. I don't even know why it's the only one that didn't have one. But it was like, so they took my trash cans, they're outside, put them against the wall, and the kid that I saw running through was super skinny. And he had to be a kid, teenager or a kid. And they must have thrown him through. He fell, I'm surprised he didn't hurt himself, somehow fell through. And I don't know how he did it, but must have landed on I don't know how, it's dangerous in there. And I was like, that's what happened. So the police finally came, whatever. They dusted for prints. It was so dirty. Everything was so dirty. I scrubbed everything down, vacuumed the shit out of this place, did everything I could. And I called the next day. I stayed home the next day and I called my guy who does electrical. I said, my guy who does electrical, I said, I need motion lights now. We didn't have them before. So now I got motion lights over there all around the whole perimeter. You actually also, thank you, Jesus, also put up bars over those windows. So that's the last time that's going to happen. So they put bars on those windows. So now I got bars on everything. We have a new alarm system since then. So, whew, I lucked out that nothing bad happened to me, thank God. And they didn't take anything. Like there was nothing missing. But I'm gonna have all this expensive equipment just sitting here, and they didn't take it. So I was like, thank you, Jesus, thank you so much. It was crazy. So that was my experience of walking into my house while being robbed. Oh, it was too much. Too much. I'm James Lott Jr., and I'll be telling more stories, of course, where it's a lot here on Patreon. Take care of yourselves, get an alarm system, and make sure your windows have bars. You live in a big city.